But this was the first time we saw Paige really get guarded. This is where we saw what is going to happen in year 2. This is the scout report that needs to be out there on Paige Bueckers once the Dallas Wings get good, because Dallas Wings are going to get good at some stage in her career. This was the game where I'm like, okay, we can shut up the comparison.
The curtain has fallen, and the illusion is over. The WNBA's orchestrated campaign to crown its next superstar just came crashing down in front of a national audience. Paige Bueckers, hyped as the next Caitlin Clark, the media's golden child, the anointed one, was handed a brutal dose of reality by the Seattle Storm. This wasn't just a loss, it was a dismantling, a full-scale exposure of the gap between potential and dominance. The prophecy has cracked, and the truth hit harder than any headline ever could.
One Paige Bueckers. Oh, she's better than Caitlin Clark. I mean, stab me in the eye with a spoon, for Christ's sakes. Wow. So that's a thing right now. Last night, Paige Bueckers dropped 44 points. And we're going to look at a video that just dissects and exposes a lot of that shit. Let me tell you. It exposes a lot of stuff involving Paige Bueckers getting special treatment on the...
4 months, we've been force-fed the narrative Paige Bueckers, the heir to Caitlin Clark's throne. The media crowned her the savior of women's basketball before she even earned the crown, pushing headlines that claimed she was shattering Clark's records faster than a teenager cracks an iPhone screen. But hype isn't legacy, and storytelling isn't supremacy, not when the scoreboard tells a different tale.
Top Divas Kat Engelbert is breathing a sigh of relief. Her pretend friends in the mainstream media, they are trying to crown a new star. If the media has it their way, this could potentially be the new face of pretend basketball. And it's not just the woke media. There are even some in conservative media who are voluntarily biting into the shit sandwich. Headline at Outkick: "No Caitlin, no problem. Paige Bueckers can save the WNBA season."
Paige Bueckers blasted to 200 points and 50 assists in just 11 games, one faster than Caitlin Clark, fueling headlines about her efficiency, poise, and cerebral game. ESPN ranked her 13th mid-season, and the hype train was barreling full speed ahead, with everyone clamoring for a front-row seat to the Paige Bueckers show. But hype, it's just hot air until it runs headfirst into cold, hard reality. And that reality has a name: Seattle Storm defense.
It's a little bit different, huh? It's a little bit different out here when you get Caitlin Clark treatment. It ain't so easy peasy getting to play one-on-one, getting to just do your thing how you want to do it, when you want to do it. Paige Bueckers got the Caitlin Clark treatment for one game, and it got...
August 22nd, 2025 marked the date as the night the Paige Bueckers myth officially died. Fresh off a historic 44-point explosion against the Los Angeles Sparks, she arrived in Seattle ready to continue her coronation. Instead, she walked straight into a buzzsaw that ripped apart every crack in her supposedly flawless game.
He went off in a game against the Los Angeles Sparks, scoring 44 points, but the craziest part about that was her shooting percentage. She shot over 80% from the field, and I tweeted about that, and I was like, that's actually insane. Give props where they are due. Shooting over 80%, scoring 44 points is actually insane. But with this game, like, Paige Bueckers she put on a masterclass in scoring. And I think with that, these are some big numbers, and those are some props.
Points? That's what the real Caitlin Clark dropped against NBA-level defensive. Not 11 in the first quarter, not 11 in the first half, but 11 total for the entire game. Paige Bueckers shot 2 for 11, 0 assists, 2 rebounds. Stat sheet looked more like a participation trophy from a youth league. Seattle Storm's defensive coordinator, Noelle Quinn, said it best before tip-off. After her 44-point explosion the other night, it was in a variety of different ways. Translation time to see if this princess could survive the Caitlin Clark treatment. Spoiler: she could.
Again, you said it's going to be important to be physical with, like, Paige Bueckers. Can you talk about the defensive game plan for Dallas and like how your team was able to hold them to their fewest points of the season?
Yeah, it started, with our attention to detail with Paige. I thought, Slim was very physical, stayed in her space, and the the actions that we guarded her in. We were very aggressive, showed multiple bodies, and kind of, made her hesitant to use the ball screen a little bit. I thought we rotated well. And everyone who ended up being on Paige from E on down, I thought.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe, because here's where the story gets really interesting. While Paige Bueckers was getting her reality check in Seattle, the real next-level superstar has been grinding through a season like no other. Caitlin Clark, the player who's actually reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball, has been absorbing hits that would make NFL linebackers wince. And the stats back it up. 17% of all flagrant fouls in the 2024 WNBA season were aimed squarely at Clark. This isn't basketball, it's a war.
Paige Bueckers got Caitlin Clark treatment for the first time in her career, and it looked bad. It looked real bad. Everybody was running around. Yeah, she was cooking 44 points versus the Sparks. They didn't play a lick of defense, letting this girl play one-on-one basketball in every area of the floor, letting her post up in the mid-range area one-on-one. Now, I'm giving credit. She's a bucket in one-on-one, especially from that mid-range, from the free throw line down area. But this is the first time we watch teams actively be persistent about taking away her spots and what she wants.
The Chicago Sky alone were responsible for 80% of the flagrant fouls against Clark. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers has been cruising through games with kid gloves like she's still in a college scrimmage. But when Bueckers finally faced the kind of physical, relentless defense Clark endures every night, she folded faster than a lawn chair in a hurricane. The Storm made it their mission: be physical, contest every shot, make her earn every possession. And the result? She vanished completely because
she got blitzed. She got doubled. And do you want to know what she did as soon as she got blitzed and doubles? She passed. Paige Bueckers, look, she played decent amount early in the game. The game was kind of over and she got subbed out. Paige Bueckers shot 7 times. Paige shot the ball.
The media love to brag about Bueckers' shooting efficiency 47.4% from the field, compared to Clark's rookie season at 41.7%, painting Bueckers as the more polished, pro-ready player. But here's what they conveniently ignored. Clark has been taking the hardest shots in the league while defenders treat her like she's got a bullseye on her back. Bueckers' glossy shooting percentages were built on soft defense and easy looks. The moment Seattle started guarding her like the supposed superstar she was hyped to be, those numbers collapsed like a house of cards in a tornado. 2 made shots on 11 attempts. That's not efficiency. That's exposure. Meanwhile, Clark's been shooting over defenders who are literally trying to injure her, enduring flagrant fouls that aren't even basketball plays, and facing physical dominance as a defensive strategy. And yet, she's still putting up numbers that make Bueckers' stat sheet look like a rough
Paige Bueckers, let me ask you this. How did it feel to be blitzed and played 94 feet before you even get a chance to bring the ball up court like your name was Caitlin Clark, aka my precious Cece? You didn't like that, huh? You hear me? You out there was looking like you was about to cry. Yeah, so what do your fans have to say now? Excuse me, where are you Paige Bueckers fans at? That's y'all MVP and face of the league, right? She's boring. She's not good enough. She gets special treatment. But understand, she kept getting blitz after blitz after blitz.
Let's be brutally honest about what went down on August 22nd. Paige Bueckers got a tiny taste of the relentless pressure Caitlin Clark faces every single night, and she crumbled. One game of real defensive intensity, one night where the opposition made her earn every shot, and suddenly the next Caitlin Clark looked more like the next player heading to the bench. This is the same player the media hyped as superior to Clark in every way, the more cerebral, more fundamentally sound phenom who shattered Clark's records with such ease that analysts were ready to crown her the better player after just half a season. But when push came to shove, literally Bueckers showed she's not built for the spotlight Clark has carried from day one. She's not ready for the physical chess match that unfolds when teams scheme to stop you. And she's definitely not ready for the kind of punishment Clark absorbs night after night while still putting up historic performances.
Up how the WNBA played against Caitlin Clark in terms of the defensive strategy, in terms of the other basketball teams around the WNBA. What they did against Caitlin Clark versus how they've handled Paige this year. Everybody wants to act like Paige is so much better than Caitlin. They're certainly not playing defense on Paige the way they played on Caitlin. They're certainly not attacking her with unnecessary fouls the way they attacked Caitlin with unnecessary fouls last year. So in the 2024 season, there were 35 flagrant fouls called. Caitlin Clark received 17% of the entire season's flagrant fouls, 17%. I mean, we've seen all the injuries, we've seen all the fights, the MMA fights that the WNBA players have gotten into this year. There haven't been 35 flagrant fouls.
While we're on the topic of manufactured narratives, let's look at the real numbers that settle this debate once and for all. Caitlin Clark's rookie season: 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, all while being the most targeted player in the league. Paige Bueckers' rookie season: 19.7 points, 5.3 assists, and 4.1 rebounds per game while receiving the softest defensive treatment in the WNBA. Clark faced flagrant fouls at twice the rate of any other player, with coaches openly instructing their teams to be physical with her as a primary defensive strategy. She endured plays her own coach called unacceptable. Meanwhile, Bueckers cruised against teams treating her like glass. The moment one team flipped the script and guarded her like the superstar she was hyped to be, she completely disappeared.
Minus 17 on the floor. She had 0 assists and 11 points. 0 assists. 0 assists. That's mental. That's mental for a player that they were trying to say was better than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not even going to say, oh yeah, the points are everything. Points aren't everything at the end of the day. Assists aren't everything. Like, all of these individual stats aren't everything. It was just the fact that she literally, how many blitzes did the Indiana, or how many open shots did the Indiana Fever get off a Caitlin Clark blitz? And albeit it's very different when you have a short roller in